Hi everyone, this is just a really quick video on physical activity. So what is physical activity? What counts as physical activity? So essentially this is very different to what exercise is. So exercise is something where you're raising your heart rate. It tends to be quite planned. It tends to be something which you're either doing with others or you're going to somewhere to do it. Whereas physical activity can be anything. So essentially this could range, so anything that raises your heart rate higher than what it normally is, and where you're sort of moving active parts of your body, that's what counts as physical activity. So it could be anything ranging from gardening, it could be chair exercises, it could be anything at all, cycling, walking, but also things like doing the ironing, doing the washing. They all count towards physical activity because your heart rate is slightly higher than usual, and you're moving different parts of your body, and that's really key to this. So when we talk about physical activity, it's really key to sort of notice that actually you are able to do it in pretty much any setting, and anybody can do it. So it doesn't matter whether you don't have a very good fitness level. To do exercise, it would matter, but for physical activity, it doesn't. You're able to sort of move around as freely as you can, and the idea is promoting physical activity to be tailored to that person. So what you want to do with physical activity is sort of say, okay, well, what can you do? And you don't want to focus on what people can't do, just focus on what they can do, and try and work with that then, and move that forward. So that's the sort of the difference between physical activity and exercise. So the guidelines around physical activity are that you should be getting 150 minutes per week as an adult. And that's a moderate intensity. So that's, for example, your walking, your gardening, all of those kind of things. If you were to sort of go that step higher, what you can do is also recommended is 75 minutes of moderate to vigorous intensity. So this is where your heart rate significantly raised and a lot higher than usual, sometimes usually doubled than what your resting heart rate is. And of course they're both completely different things, really different in the guidelines in that sense as well. And what I would encourage is particularly if people that haven't done physical activity in a long time or haven't done it before, then start off with the 150 minutes of sort of low intensity, but with that as a big goal in mind. So don't start straight off the bat with 150 minutes. Set a smaller goal of something, whether that be, it could be to start off with 20 minutes. Whatever you feel is best for them and what they feel is best as well. So it's coming to this joint decision. And that's the key part in this. So we've got the guidelines. We know what physical activity is. How do we get it in? One of the biggest ways to get it in is actually not to plan it, and actually just to go, okay, so based on how you're feeling that day, how could you get a little bit of physical activity in? Is it warm outside? Are you able to go outside and push the lawnmower around the garden? Are you able to go and hang that little bit of washing out that you need to hang out? Is there a little bit of ironing that you need to do, or some cleaning in the kitchen, for example? And all of these things, they add up. So, if you were to do 15 minutes where you've pushed the lawnmower around in the afternoon, of that morning you did 10 minutes cleaning, you've got 25 minutes there of activity. And that's better than thinking, oh, well, I haven't done any exercise at all yet. And you're still getting similar benefits, although they might not be as strong. It's much more relatable, much more easy to get that in than it is to try and plan in some exercise. So, of course, there'll be people out there that will love to get their exercise. It will be their main thing. But particularly with the sort of the target group that we're working with, sometimes physical activity is the easier route to go down to start off with, and then slowly build that up. With physical activity as well, it doesn't matter what they're doing, but usually trying to get somebody else involved tends to help. So particularly if we're going down the exercise route or something like that, then getting somebody else for them involved, that sort of social support is really important with exercise. Having somebody that they can be accountable to, and having somebody that they're sort of going, okay, well actually I understand this and I need to be there for them, and having that mutual feeling then. So whether it be you're pairing participants up, or using participants or having volunteers, for example, that go and meet your participants for a walk, all of these are ways which we can get people to increase their physical activity up to that recommended amount. Now, with the recommended amount, that's not a once you get to 150 minutes, you need to stop. That's just a guideline of this is the ideal amount initially. But with that as well, it's really important that if you're doing 200 minutes, that's not going to have a negative effect. But it is about pacing yourself at the same time. So particularly if somebody has long-term conditions, so for example asthma, COPD, things like this that are going to affect their breathing, really important to sort of monitor that. Make sure that you've got the GP's consent as well. And if you are doing physical activity as part of the program, it's really key that you get them to fill out a PARQ. So that's it's also known as a physical activity readiness questionnaire. And with that, essentially what you want them to do is they're saying whether they've got any heart conditions, whether their GP's told them that they shouldn't be exercising at all, or whether actually exercise is something that person shouldn't be doing because of health conditions that they've got, for example. And it's really, really crucial that you've got that in place with any programs that you're running, particularly with people, as I say, with long-term conditions, with higher BMIs, anyone that could be at risk of anything from doing physical activity. We need to make sure we've got that in. But once we've got that, it's also about talking to the person throughout. So you might be doing some physical activity with them, and 30 seconds in, you might want to go, okay, so how are things going? How are you feeling? Are you okay? What's your heart rate like? And continuously talking to this person. And also setting goals around physical activity is really crucial. So it might be that each week you try and set them a goal where they're going, okay, well, I'm going to increase it by 5 minutes next week. You don't want to make those goals too unrealistic or too big. It could even be that, okay, well, I've stuck to 75 minutes this week. I'm going to try and do the same again next week. Build that consistency in and then work from there. So obviously we know with physical activity, it's so beneficial for individuals that are living with obesity in particular. But it's so crucial for anyone. Everyone should be doing some sort of physical activity, exercise. It's going to improve so many different things, whether that be looking at their breathing rate. It could also be looking at their resting heart rate, the amount of blood that they're getting around their body, the oxygen levels within their body. And it's also good for their mental health as well. So whether that goes for you and me, also for the people that we're working with, it's really good physically and mentally to make sure that we're getting that physical activity in. So physical activity, I would always say is one of the best medicines, really. It's better than any drug you can give for most things. And that's paired alongside the nutrition as well. And once you've got those two things in place, along with the behaviour change side of things, you're definitely going to be helping people.